he's going to find himself getting passed by multiple cars, as I mentioned earlier on. So Villeneuve in a very precarious situation, but he often finds himself in these places. Doesn't qualify as well as he races. Only
Up front, they are getting with Lee Aberdeen and Luca Varani, not very far apart at all here. But I just want to see how Alistair Haig deals with Mugello Kessler coming around the old hairpin.
And I would say it's not the best decision they've ever made, just not having done that under safety car, really.
Yeah, they're taking their pit stop strategies from Ferrari lately, isn't it? What's going on?
In turn one, just too much gas on them, too much feet on the loud pedal, and unfortunately he's dropped him all the way down the order. But Philip Hammer is out in front by an 8.91 seconds. Oh, Dan Michael is a wall there, sir. And it definitely doesn't want to be hitting that earlier on as well.
Difficult, the understeer is in the dirty air through that final corner because it's such a long corner and you get dragged off into the grass very easily. He'll have the slipstream down towards the chicane. Peterson was briefly alongside, but that slipstream has saved him and kept him in third.
Yeah, Varani now lost a little bit of time to Aberdeen, about half a second. Peterson is Pike's pushed more and forward up ahead. He's got out of line. It's now Pike. Good have a go. Werrell, don't push him off. He's in the championship fight. Jack Werrell chasing down Carl Jacklin. Barber down. Rob Williams and Chris Barnes.
Sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's touched on second and change. All of a sudden Miller's back in play.
Moving on to the back end of Phil Jocelyn. So there's been a lot of movers and shakers in this first 2 laps here for race 2.
Absolutely serious racing league. Everybody's a lot of fun. Yeah, and it's all about the entertainment. So I hope everybody is enjoying themselves out there in the chat. We know that Ron is enjoying himself watching. The Burger King machine's off into the grass a little bit there. Is that really bunching up now?
Does he have it? Medeiros is going to get it. Medeiros is going to toss it. They haven't got it.
He's on the outside line though, going into the fastest corner on the circuit. Surely this can't work.
Dominic Ligner has got a sensational run outside line now though for the heavy braking zone. Around the outside goes the Audi R8.
Look how much Miller's caught back into play. Exactly. Miller's still such trouble. He's not on second and change. All of a sudden, Miller's back in play.
Can Barry do it? Big Barry's going to do it. Big Barry! Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the JPB GT4s live from Donington GP Circuit. I am James Parfitt. I'm going to be joined in the booth once more. He's come back for a soiree. Mr. Alex Goldschmidt will be joining me here again as well. Thanks so much to everybody who has joined me this evening. Let's keep you up to date with the standing situation currently at the moment. In the AM standings, Tristan Engelstad is out in front at the moment with Robert Stotton in second and Stu Rice in third. Rob Williams fourth. Gary McFarlane in fifth with Torbjorn Melee in sixth. Stuart Gibbons in seventh. Rachel Hoff eighth. Richard White ninth. Jess Rakowski in 10th and Austin Draper in 11th. Callum Milam in 12th, Chris Evans in 13th, Tom Anderson 14th and Tom Bingham in 15th. In the team standings, Triple Blade Gamma with Stu Gibbons and Rob Williams are out in front with Project 88 AMS. Triple P Racing 3 are in third. Then you've got Quad Dash Racing, Triple P Racing 1, Performance Link Esports, TDR Twisted Development and JC Sim Sports. It's good to have Jess Rakowski back after she hurt herself last time out. In the pro standings, the situation is at the moment Stein Veman out in first place with Mikey Pollard in second. Kim Andre Bjortland in third. Then we've got Miles Owens fourth. Torno Oramet's fifth. Dan Babbage down in sixth place with Mikey Pierce in seventh. Dan Peoples in eighth. Deck Craver ninth. Anders Liliorde in 10th. Chris Barnes is in 11th. Then last season's champion Richard Simnor down in 12th. Gavin Petty 13th, Tom Weston 14th, Michael Sill 15th, Paddy Faulkner and Andy Jones at the bottom end. In the pro team standings, AI Race Summaries Jesse team with Stein Veman and Mikey Pierce out in front with Sim Racing Norway in second, Project 88 Pro in third. Benelux Esports, or as they are called now, Sim Race Sweden, are in fourth with AIRaceSummaries.com. Tracy Team, Triple Blade Oscar, DCW, Team Racing Faulkner PCs in seventh, Team Vikings in eighth, DCW Racing in ninth, and DCW Racing Blue in 10th. Thank you to everybody who is in YouTube chat already. Skinny Bun, welcome in. Alan Luff, as always. Kraken Racing, who I believe is Rob Williams. Just Milking It Podcast is also there as well, who said he's in the race, but I don't know who he is here as well. Skinny Bomb, placing my bets on Tristan Engelstad. Evening, Tom Weston as well. Let's go DCW. But we have coming to the end of practice. It's about time that we introduce the man, the myth, the legend. That is Alex Goldschmidt. Alex, welcome in there, buddy. How are you?
Hello, mate. Good to be back with you, and good evening, everybody, wherever you may be watching from in the world, and good to be back with a bit of good old GT4s here at Donington Park.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be an exciting one. It has been an exciting season so far. Stein Veman taking the championship at the moment by storm, out in front by nearly 56 points currently. He's doing an absolutely stellar job. Now, one of the battles I think as well we've got to keep an eye on is the AM battle with Tristan Engelstad, Robert Stotton, Stu Rice and Rob Williams here, Alex. I think it could be a very interesting evening of racing with them guys.
Yeah, especially as qualifying, 15-minute qualifying session getting underway. It's going to be really interesting to see how that battle develops, because when we get to the final two rounds towards the tail end of February with Mugello and Twin Ring Motegi, which will be another 1 hour feature night race, the biggest thing is that what we need to remember is that drivers will have drop scores implemented after round 7 at Mount Panorama on the 7th of Feb. So it's got to be how you mitigate that sort of like damage control situation, if you will.
Yeah, definitely there as well. Scott Barton in YouTube chat. Morning, lads. He's in Australia. It's some unruly time of the morning for him, I am sure. I think it's about 7 a.m. the last time I spoke to Scott at this time of the morning. So there we go. It's going to be very interesting. In we go to the 15 minutes of open quali here as well. We are at the GP circuit. We do turn left at the S's this time, down to Melbourne Hairpin and through Goddard's as well. Donington Park, not normally on a GT4 calendar, not normally probably where you would send GT4s, Alex, but yeah, this is going to be a new challenge for some of them.
Yeah, I mean, GT4s you're seeing a bit more on the the Intelligent Money British GT Championship, which is getting underway very, very shortly, and I think they do normally have the Donington decider. But yeah, we could see some three-wide action, a few cents going down into the Melbourne hairpin, of course, Redgate, Hollywood, and then the iconic crane of curves. You know, we're going to see door handle to door handle action, and going to be really interested to see who's going to be at the top of the timesheets. I mean, Stein Wienman, you know, leading the way. What's happened to Simnor? I mean, he was like literally Mr. Domination in Season 2, and now we've had a lot more competition coming to the fray, and I think it's ended up a bit more different than probably Richard anticipated.
Yeah, I think so, and that's the thing. He hasn't been here. I think he's missed a couple of races, to be honest. I think, you know, I could wind him up now and say that he's missed a couple of races because he was scared of the competition. You know, because we've had Kim-Andre Bjorklund come in, we've had Anders Lilliorde, so, you know, the Norwegians have been into the series as well. Torbjorn Melle is here as well, he's an AM. But for Richard, I think them last couple of races where he hasn't turned up, I think has probably not done him any favours, you know, and I think that's the thing here as well for him. He's got to try and get some good points on the board at the moment. So yeah, we did have PC issues as well. We had GPU issues. Yes, Tom Weston, I am aware of that. So he did have a couple of issues that he did say. So unfortunately, that's where he's at the moment. I'm sure he's going to be returning back to full force here as well. You know, we're back to the normal format, 15-minute quali, then we go into a 15-minute sprint. Then we go into a 45-minute reverse grid with a top 15 reverse as well. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this one works out. Mikey Pollard currently leading the way. Off tracks could be an issue down at the old hairpin as well, Alex. I think that's one of the things they've got to look out for. Also, going too wide down the old hairpin doesn't always work out.
No, also another place for track limits, Fogarty S's. You know, you can near enough straight line that chicane, but you've got to really, really watch your entry and your exit speed on that one. And too wide going through into there, well, someone's going to end up in the barriers on the left-hand side. We've seen that before in multitude of GT sim racing leagues. But, you know, one of the other bits about this circuit is that you got the coming up from the old hairpin through Starkeys, through Schwantz, into McLean's. Then you got a very deceptive double right up at the top of the hill at Coppice. Now, the first thing is that people might say, oh yeah, you need to hit both apexes. No, the best way to do it is to carry your speed through the first part of Coppice, go wide, and then bring it in coming into the Starkey Straight, so you can really get a good lineup for the Fogarty S's. And that's where we're going to see a lot of slipstreaming, as we're now seeing, even though through nearly 5 minutes of qualifying so far, with Mikey Pollard still leading the way, 1 minute 33.941. Kim-Andre Bjorklund, Anders Lilliorde, Stein Wienman, Dan Peppels rounding out the top 5, covered by just under 7.5 tenths. So it's getting a bit, you know, we said about the Porsche meritocracy, that still seems to be a bit of a tour de force, but we are seeing a few marks, like, say, BMW, Mercedes coming to the fore here in this championship for Season 3.
Yeah, definitely, and there's been a good old mixture this season as well. We've had the McLaren of Robert Stotton and the McLaren now of Paddy Faulkner as well, who I believe is the one that's changed cars, if I'm not mistaken. And I know he changed the cars and has to stay in the pits for quali, which is probably why he hasn't got a time on the board at the moment. The likes of Austin Draper, new to the series. Bit of a learning series for Austin this year. He's been new in his first league race as well, league racing. So he's had a bit of a rough one at the moment. As I say, Jess Rakowski, it's good to have her back. She's had some injuries as well, and the likes of Callum Ireland Stewart. Simnar's still not got a time on the board here. I guess he's going to have to be a little bit careful as they've got 8.5 minutes remaining.
Yeah, I mean, he's had 2 laps disallowed already, and he's 80% of the way through his 3rd lap. Stein Wieman's just initially gone purple through sector number 3. So it is going to be a case of how Richard decides to, you know, because as we see the AI race summaries cars all in a row, like we've seen multiple times over the course of season 2 that you and I were both very much witness to. But I'm really looking forward to seeing. I mean, it's all changing at the time. Wieman goes top, 33.8. Miles Owens now the fastest non-Porsche at the minute in the 74. Well, that wasn't until Mikey Pierce decided to dump him down from 6th position to 7th. But then you look at the remainder of the top 10. You've got Aston Martin, Mercedes, McLaren, Mercedes. So 60% of the top 10 already, with 8 minutes to go in qualifying, James, is all covered by, you know, is all taken by Porsches. But I think we know for a fact that times are for show and it's points to go. And when we get into the first race here at Donington Park, we know that the first half of that opening lap really decide everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the things that people forget. Although, yes, quali is great and you do get to go on pole position and everything else, but it doesn't really mean a lot if there was an issue halfway through, if you're disconnected or if you've got on the side of the grass or whatever the issue you might have had or made contact. It all just kind of goes out the window. So they've got to try and make the likes of Wieman, Pollard and Simner, excuse me.
Gesundheit.
Thank you very much. Have got to make sure that they're, they're keeping it on track throughout the race. And this isn't going to be a walk in the park. You know, it's Donington Park. It's 45 minutes in the feature. They've got to make sure they're there. The top 15 reverse is really going to throw it out here as well. So there's a lot of things that they've got to take into consideration.
Yeah, and especially with the predominant factor of this circuit is that most of the corners are right-handers. So the right-hand side tyres could come under significant degradation load as well. I mean, especially if you go through Redgate, right-hander, Hollywood, right-hander. First part of the crane of curves is, it's effectively a left then a right, and then a 90-degree right at the old hairpin, and then you've got a couple of lefts through Starkeys and Schrontz, and then again it goes on to right-handers from McLean's and the double right at Coppice before you go to Fogarty. Like literally the right side tyres could take a bit of a pounding. So you've really got to have the car set up to work well with the right hand side tyres, and especially if the right rear gets a bit more deg than the left, grip could be an issue in that last race later on tonight. Yeah,
and they've still got their pit stop as well that they've got to contend with here as well. Just milking it. Hope you're having a good broadcast, JP. Yeah, I'm all right. I'm not too bad so far, thank you very much. And Ewan Bramer there, evening all, good luck to the Sim Race Sweden boys of Miles Owens and Dan Peoples there as well. So them guys are part of the Sim Racing Sweden esports team that they've started, I guess, and come up with a collaboration there as well. It's Callum, by the way, mate. Oh, hello, Callum. How are you? Thanks so much for that. Drinking chocolate milk, debating if I should give my fish some of it too.
Interesting debacle there.
Welcome to YouTube. I'm not. I don't know if that is something that fish like. I can't honestly say. Alex, have you ever tried that with fish?
No. I mean, when I was younger, the family had a koi pond back in the back garden, and there was no way in hell chocolate milk was ever going to get pulled in there. So I think that's a big fat no from me.
Yeah, I'm probably guessing it's not going to love it either. So yeah, I'm probably going to say no on that one. Not the best idea for Skinny Bod. Probably something you shouldn't be doing. Robert Stoughton is leading the AMS, highest AMS in 9th at the moment, with Rob Williams in 2nd, and Tristan Engelstadt is in 3rd there currently as well. Great battle in the AMS. I think this is going to go right the way down to the wire with Robert Stoughton and the likes of Rob Williams and Tristan Engelstadt. I think it's just going to be you know, a battle for the ages that's going to go right down to the last part at Twin Ring, and I think it could be one that we're really going to keep an eye on. Be interested to see what Simnar does now, Alex, as well, with the fact that obviously he's dropped out of the top 10. He's down in the standings as well. He's down in 12th. He's almost 146 points away from Stein Wiemann alone. You know, that's massive for him to try and claw back.
Yeah, it is. I mean, especially when you got to do the, you know, we're now at the halfway point of the season. So Richard's got to really just sort of grin and bear it and just try and do as best he can. We know for the fact that he was, as I said earlier, a Tour de Force in season 2, but Wiemann leading comfortably. You know, it's not going to be an easy lead to truncate, but we know that Richard Simnor has the pace, has the craft and the savoir-faire to know what he's doing. Also, just an average sim racer says, Donny, a thing of beauty.
I agree, and then obviously responded to Mike there as well underneath. It is fixed setup, Mike. It's not open here as well, so it is a fixed setup that these guys are on currently. Once at the moment, it's probably, to be honest with you, Mike, the fairest way we find it here as well, because not everybody has time to set cars up, and not everybody has time to go and get a setup shop or the money to pay for them or whatever the scenario may be. So fixed in the GT4s makes it a hell of a lot easier for a lot of people here as well. Michael Lees is on the grid tonight. He's in the BMW, if I'm not mistaken, for Michael. I think that's his first outing out since signing up there, dear sir. So I believe Michael Lees there sitting in 18th in overall and is 14th in class. So let's see how he gets on in the BMW here once more. 2 minutes on the clock, coming to the end of qualifying now as well before we go into the first race. Alex, what do we think is likely to happen in race 1?
It's going to be carnage at Redgate. I can guarantee you that much. Normally everyone trying to go into the same bit of real estate. It happens in touring cars, it happens in British GT. Something just goes awry when everyone decides to, you know, go for it. But then it's also going to be the people that make the best of the start, because as we all know, folks, GT4, it is rolling start. So someone is going to, like, literally lick the stamp, send it, go full throttle, beat everyone down into the first corner, and then probably get an opportunity to get away. But it's what happens in the mid-pack, because when you look at it, we have the possibility of 30 cars on the grid tonight, folks, and 30 GT4s trying to tackle Redgate at the same time. Just imagine what might happen next.
Yeah, and we've only got a second between, well, we can count Chris Barnes in. I'll give Chris that extra 10th there. Right the way down in 20th place. So from first to 20th, there's only 1 second between them. It's going to be tight. I think that's the only way I can put this, I think, here, Alex, because it is going to be a tight evening of racing.
It is in Donington Park. I mean, I've commentated here in real life when it was the Cater and the BRSCC weekend back in, I think it's 2019, which is about 3.5 years ago. And the amount of door-to-door action that we had with the Caterhams and the MX-5s was absolutely mind-blowing, and I'm not expecting anything less here.
Yeah, definitely not. I think it is going to be even very, very tight. Once more in with the AMs and the pros. 10 seconds on the clock. There isn't many that's going to be able to complete their laps that they're on here as well. Maybe Torno Orvermetz might get a time if he can get round Goddard's. He's not going to get a time. He's definitely not going to get round Goddard's within about 5 seconds. There you go. We are now coming up once more for the opening race. 15 minutes of racing here in race 1. So pay attention now as we're going to get the grid here for you. Stein Wiemann is in first place with Richard Simnor in second, Mikey Pollard in third, Kim Andre Bjortland fourth with Anders Lilliorde in fifth, Mike Pierce in sixth, Miles Owens in 7th, Robert Stotton leading the AMs in 8th with Dan Peebles in 9th, Andrew Jones 10th, Gavin Petty and Rob Williams there as well in 12th place. On from that, Tristel Engelstad in 13th, Torno Oromets 14th, Dan Babbage 15th, Stuart Gibbons 16th, Dec Crowther in 17th, Michael Sill in 18th, and Michael Lees in 19th. Chris Barnes in 20th, with Chris Evans 21st, and Jess Rakowski down in 22nd. Torbjörn Mele in 23rd, with Richard White in 24th. Stu Rice down in 25th, Gary McFarlane in 26th, Callum Milam 27th, Rachel Hoff 28th, Paddy Faulkner in 29th, and Austin Draper down in 30th place. As we say, there are 30 cars that I am expecting to take to the grid here. As you can see them there, that round that the S is just about to go for it here as well, and it's going to be very, very exciting. We're waiting for Dec Crowther and Gary McFarlane just to get onto the grid here as well. Get your drinks, get your popcorn, and I think, Alex, we could safely say let carnage commence, maybe.
Cry havoc and let slip the dogs of war, in other words. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be a short formation lap through the Fogarty S's down to the Melbourne hairpin. Now, they've really, really got to have their A game. They've got to have eyeballs on Storks at the minute because, you know, we've got Veenman and Simnor on the front row, but it's going to be down to Veenman and whether Simnor goes with him. Now, we saw some really good starts from Richard Simnor, and I won't expect anything less, but can Veenman do a number on him coming out of Goddard's and then punching the throttle going down the weak cross straight? Because my mind is that we're going to see Veenman and Simnor in first and second by the end of Redgate, but who's going to be in front of who is the big question.
I believe that could be the scenario. I'm just hoping that it's clean. I know skinny bodies at YouTube hope to see some crashes, a bit of crashing. It isn't a race without it. You're right, it isn't, but we're hoping we don't see that in conjunction to where, you know, we want everybody to get through. We want everybody to survive. Richard Simnor in second place. Stein Veeman's already gone. Kim on JP Ortland jumping Mikey Pollard. Coming down now into Redgate for the first time here this evening. All the way to the left-hand side they go. Lily Orde is mixing up as well, but it is Kim on JP Ortland. He's been forced onto the grass on the left-hand side. He's still going at it as they come down through Redgate, down into Craner Curves now. There's the left. Then they're going to come into the old hairpin on the right-hand side, and it is still Veeman, Simnor, Pollard and Pierce, but there has been an accident at the back with Andy Jones. I believe he's there in his Mercedes, and there's a big old collision involving about 4 or 5 cars there, Alex, and unfortunately for them, it just looks like it didn't quite work out early on.
Yeah, Tunnel Automets being one of them as well. We're going to have a look at the replay here. So, going through Redgate, and it's just going to be the slightest of touches, I fear. And yeah, the first one goes off, comes straight into the path, and there you go. The concertina and domino effect happened straight away.
Yeah.
Well, Redgate didn't do it, but the Craner Curves did.
Yeah, and that was unfortunately for Andy Jones there as well. It's not an ideal scenario for him currently right at the beginning of the race. He's going to have to try and work his way back up. Kim Andre Bjortland and Andres Lilliorde going battling away here side by side around Melbourne hairpin. They've gone. Now they've got the run up into turn 12, up into Goddard's, the left-hander. Blind apex almost here as well. You can't really see where you are, Alex, until you're literally on top of the apex.
Yeah, it's quite a deceiving corner, is Goddard's, because you've really just got to sort of line it up and pray and hope that your car hits the apex and you're able to get the traction out of the corner. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Tom Weston says, Andy Jones loves the first lap murder. Laugh out loud with the emoji face. But yeah, I mean, Odomets is in the pits. Andrew Jones has been in the pits for a minute and 20. So unfortunately, I think that's Andrew Jones's race done and dusted. As
I just want to see what he does. Oh, he just goes onto the grass.
Yeah, just clips the grass with one of the wheels and then bang, gets turned around, holds onto the brakes but comes back straight into traffic, and then that's where all the pins scatter. It's like Skittles heading into the old hairpin. So yeah, it's not the greatest thing, as yeah, this battle's still going on here with the likes of Bjorklund, Iliardet and Owens Snowden and Peppers are not too far behind either, as Bjorklund is getting very, very defensive at the minute.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things he probably doesn't want either. He doesn't want to be defensive. He wants to be able to go after Mikey Pierce here as well. Liliorde wants to go after Bjorklund, but he's got Miles Owens pressurising him. There's a big dive almost from Dan Peoples there as well, as he's almost into the side of Robert Stotton. The AM at the moment scrapping it out in first place. Tristan Engelstadt in second. Then we've got Stuart Gibbons in the AMs in third, with Rob Williams in fourth as well. They're very close together, even towards all the way back down here, where Mikey Seal and Torbjorn Mel are having a battle as he goes, oh, no. I don't know if the gap was there. I've got a funny feeling Torbjorn Mel might be heading into the pits, or he's got to slow down there as well, Alex. But he's still fighting away as Robert Stotton, Dan Peoples and Miles Owens still scrapping it out in their mid-pack.
Yeah, Miller got a slowdown penalty pulled straight away to the left-hand side, so that's dropped him all the way down. And then see on the left-hand side of your screens, folks, the current rankings for the pros. So it's Simnor ahead of Veenman. So Richard Simnor has now bolted away from Veenman with 11 minutes to go. He's got about a 9.5 dentures, Alex. God, I was saying that about you last season, JP.
Hey, mate, you get that ball out, son. I'll tell you
exactly.
That much.
Yeah, Simnor's now a second up the road from Veenman. Mikey Pollard's third. Pierce, Bjorklund, Liljodet, Owens, Pepples, Petty and Crowther ran at the top 10 in pro. Stotton is about 1.5 seconds ahead of Engelstadt, with Gibbons rounding out the top 3, with the likes of Rob Williams and Stuart Rice. Good effort by Jess Rakowski in the 999 Porsche. She's currently running in P6 and is about 8.5 tenths of a second ahead of Chris Evans. So, yeah, I mean, there's still plenty of battles to be had over the course of the next 10 minutes. There's a little bit of a look up the inside. That was the, I think that was the numbers. Was that the number 6?
People's having to go with Robert Stotton there as well, as them guys are battling it out coming through Goddard's. I think Stotton's probably being somewhat of a roadblock for the pros, but then, as we've spoken before previously, if he's got the pace to be up there, then he's deservedly should be up there, and I think that's the thing. I know last time out we went to NASCAR Road Circuit at Daytona. Mikey Pierce, big advocate. I didn't like the track, right? And it was a proper, how can I put it? It was an interesting one where if you survived, you did well. And I know coming into this, Mikey was a little bit more optimistic. It was a bit like, I don't mind Donnie, and he's sitting in 4th place, up 2 places at the moment. We've got Dec Quava still in his Mercedes, and I say that in an operative word for Dec because normally he's in the BMW, has spoken about changing to the BMW, but is now back in. He stayed with the Mercedes here, Alex, as well, and he's still pushing along quite nicely, sitting 10th in class at the moment. So a great interesting racing, some great battles materialising here as well. Tristan Engelstadt holding on to a group of cars behind him here as well, with Mikey Pierce in 4th place. Also got the likes of Liliorde right behind him as well. So this could go down to the next 8 minutes, Alex, and it's going to be who will be where come the end of it.
Well, keep your eyes on Patrick Faulkner. He's made up 12 positions so far, and he's about 8 tenths of a second behind the 93 Merc of Rob Williams. So Patrick Faulkner, qualifying band for this round in the DCWR McLaren, is really making some good headway in that 570S GT4. So, yeah, we'll see what happens there. Why? I'll just that comment as well.
I don't really know which one he's referring to, whether that's me or you. I didn't want to comment there, Alex, to be honest. Is it the one, I don't know. Maybe because as we're older, our voices are we all go, don't we, eventually? But
yes.
The voices go eventually. But I'm not quite sure who Nico is actually referring to be honest.
If he goes, it's not James, then I know where I stand.
Yes, that could be the scenarios. We've got Nico in the YouTube chat there as well. No way Mr. Rice is racing. Yes, he is here at the moment. Stu Rice is in 5th in the AM class in the class 18th overall. So, yeah, Stu Rice does race the GT4s as well. Stu Gibbons is in this pack here once more with Michael Lees, Dek Qualva, Tristan Engelstadt just up the road. He's got Chris Barnes to contend with behind him at the moment, both from the Triple Blade Oscar and Gamma team here. So sister teams, I guess, in conjunction. Barnes is the pro, Gibbons is the AMS, but it seems to be some of the pros have off days, should we put it that way?
Yes, they do. They don't always. They don't always see eye to eye to certain of the tracks, like you said about Mikey Pierce. In the meantime, Callum Milam, he's been in the pits for now for just north of 4.25 minutes. So I think that's the number 555's race done and dusted. So we're down to 29 out of 30 runners and riders when we started. What was it? Around about 8 minutes ago. So we've got just over 6 minutes 40 left to go here, and Simnor still keeping a very decent gap between himself and Stein Veenman, as we're now going to see.
But Dan Babbage has been up to something. I'm not entirely sure what Dan Babbage got himself up to, but it's coming down into the Melbourne hairpin. I think, just misses completely, and so does Austin Draper, so I think that was the scenario there. I can't find anything with Callum Milam, so unless something dramatic has happened somewhere, I unfortunately cannot find where Callum Milam, if anything, has happened to Mr. Milam here either. Just got him basically as I think he's just entered into the pits and he's not come back out again. So yeah, at the moment, Alex, I can't give you an update on Callum Milam. I have no idea. So there we go. So Callum, if you're in YouTube chat, let us know here as well as we go on board with Lily Orde chasing down Mikey Pierce, who's got Kim on JP Ortland behind him as well. So the two Norwegians battling it out here, giving as good as they get. They've come into the series this season and they've been a little bit of a breath of fresh air, I think, breaking up the likes of Simnar, Pollard and Veeman and Pierce, and they've done a good job at it, but they can't quite do it all on their own, Alex. They need help from other people.
They do, and they need to. One of the other things is that they want to move forward. They've got to stop battling between themselves. That's another thing, because there's Norwegian pride on the line here between these two, and one will definitely want to get the upper hand on the other. Yeah,
of course. Who doesn't? Let's be real, you know what I mean, countryman and teammate. Let's see how this one, you want to do both. They're the one area that you want to beat. You want to beat your countryman first, and if you haven't got, you want to beat your teammate. They're not teammates, but they are countrymen. So let's see how this one goes. Tristan Engelstadt is under a lot of pressure from Stuart Gibbons at the moment. Gibbo trying to really give Engelstadt a good old run for his money here as well. Tristan's up the line. He's got to be looking in them mirrors and thinking there's a looming Mercedes coming at him here as well, Alex. Gibbons not giving up. His second place in class he wants, and second place he's going to go after.
Yeah, Chris Evans just had a big old off track and he's lost a few positions. So has Jess Rakowski as well. She's dropped a couple of places, dropped from 19th to 21st, but Chris Evans must have had a big old off track somewhere on the circuit. Not exactly sure where, but yeah. That's that's down into the old hairpin. He lost it. Back end and into the kitty letter, but manages to save it. And then we've got Jess Rakowski
not too far up the road here. Yeah, Coppice didn't quite get the car turned, unfortunately, for Jess, and off she goes there as well. Pierce under pressure though, still from Lily Orde, still from Kim Andre Bjortland, and he's got to try and get away here, and I just can't see where he's going to be able to do it.
Well, he's losing about the best part of, well, to Lily Orde. He's lost about 0.3 of a second in the previous lap, so the 918 from Team Vikings really has got the Porsche underneath him as they're going through Starkey's Bridge and into Schwann's Curve before the Beans. A little bit of a touch on the dirt by Mikey Pierce, but manages to get it nicely sized up for McLean's, but then it's the run up here. I think it's Lily Orde probably got to try and do it one or two places to get past Mikey Pierce, either down the Melbourne hairpin, but look at the run he's got out of Coppice. Could be the opportunity that the Norwegian needs.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to try and get up, right up to the back of him if he possibly can here for Lily Orde. I know he's got Bjorklund right up to the back of him there, just as the sun sets as well. That was very low sun coming into the S's there as well, Alex. It may have an effect as the race goes on.
Yeah, especially with the peripheral vision. That's the biggest thing, because you look at it on your monitor, sometimes it can be quite distracting, especially if you're going through a particular part of the circuit where the low-lying sun is going to hit the tarmac. And now these three are line astern coming out of Goddard's, but Mikey Pierce has expanded that gap to about half a second now, so Villeneuve has lost a little bit of time, but he starts gathering it through. And look at the lap times: 34.1 for Pierce, 34.3 for Villeneuve, Bjorklund with the 34.4. So if Mikey Pierce just hangs on as he is at the moment, okay, that's going to put him behind those two. But then he's got to think, oh, Blumenek, I've got to get past these two on the top 15 reverse grid feature very, very shortly.
Yeah, absolutely. Veman has got Pollard climbing all over him there. That was Austin Draper being lapped, I believe, from Richard Simnor here as well. And Austin keeping well out of the way there. Great job from him. Pollard and Veman, of course, they are teammates of sorts in the AIRaceSummaries.com stable. Simnar is Tracy, Beeman is Jesse, and Mikey Pollard is Tracy as well. So, yeah, some great action there as well. Don't forget, guys, tune in after this into the Discord. If you are in it already, you'll be able to see the race reports from one of the AI Race Summaries AI bots that do them here as well. And they're very, very entertaining. So if you are in the Discord, get yourself involved and have a look at the race reports from the GT4s, because it is quite a very interesting reading, should we say, here once more. Robert Stutton still leading the way. Michael Leach right behind him at the moment. Alex and Chris Barnes here as well. Nice little battle materialising as we have gone on to the final lap of the race.
Yeah, Mikey Pollard trying to close that gap to Stein Veman, who was a second behind Richard Simnor, but lost a lot of time not that long ago. So Veman's coming under pressure as we're heading on to the final lap. This really is going to be the case of who, is Pollard going to risk it for the biscuit? But if he does, then he's going to be 14th on the grid for the feature, and Veman will be ahead of him. Simnor will be down at the bottom part of the top 15, but it's a good way for Richard to come back after all those issues. But now you can really sense that Pollard, the body language of that car, means that he wants to get that second place ahead of Veman, but he's only got a handful of corners to do it. They're coming through Coppice for the final time. Can Pollard send it? I think either through one of two places. It's either going to be through the Foggy S's, or it's going to be down to Melbourne as they've got the run through to the chicane now. Yeah,
here we go. He's got to go in. Is he going to come out the other side and get it out through Melbourne hairpin? Mikey Pollard, he's got to just basically, as the staff in it, just send it in general here as well. He almost thought about pulling out. I don't think he's going to. I think he's just going to sit there and wait until, well, he's not got much of an opportunity now. He's got one more corner, but he also may just concede and take the points, because, as you say, Beeman's going to be behind him in the feature here, so there's no need for him to be in front. But Richard Simnar comes back strong and takes that victory in the race here as well. In the arms, it's going to be Robert Stoughton. Is he going to be able to hang on? He lets Michael Lease go through here as well. Stoughton, I believe, might have some form of issue or a slowdown. Has he got to try and contend with? He hasn't. Here he goes over the line for Robert Stoughton. Takes the AM win with Engelstad right behind him, and Gibbons right behind that one as well. So a close little battle in the AMs, and that is going to be a very interesting fight at the front of the field, because it's going to be Gibbons and Engelstad on the front rows. So Mikey Seal comes over the line as well, as does Richard White. Just waiting for Rachel Hoff, the last car to come over the line, will be Mr. Chris Evans here as well. So great little battle, but I can see this 15 reverse. Well, I can only see spice, Alex. That's literally where I'm at. I can only see spice materialising.
I'm going to be in. You know what's even more interesting, James, is the fact that Patrick Faulkner was one place away from hitting 15th in that race, and could have been on the feature race top 15 reverse grid pole position. And he didn't take part in qualifying because, as you said, there are the results, folks, as we've just gone through, that Simnel's taken the win for AIRaceSummaries.com. Tracy with Veman, Pollard, Lily Yorda getting past Mikey Pierce in the last few moments to take fourth, with Bjorklund, Pepples, Owens, Petty, Crowther, Lee, Spartan, Stodd and Engelstad and Gibbons rounding out the top 15, but more importantly, Gibbons for Triple Blade Gamma starts from top 15 reverse grid pole for the feature. But yeah, Faulkner was one place away, 3.5 seconds. If he had an additional maybe 5 minutes, could have maybe have gotten that top 15 and gotten that pole position. But I think he's going to be another one to watch. We've seen what Patrick Faulkner's done last season in an Aston Martin, and he seems to be really, really happy with that McLaren.
Yeah, absolutely. Here as well, we're going to have a brief little chat to Dan Peoples, who's waiting in the waiting room here as well. Dan, welcome in, dear sir. How are you?
Hello, guys. Yeah, doing okay. Let's put it like that.
Doing okay. Why only okay, dear sir?
The Porsches are so difficult to beat on this track. We're both Miles and I are trying to find places where you can gain time, but it's very difficult too because we're very near the edge of the car grid already. So
what you're going to do?
It's here, there, and everywhere a little bit, but yeah, difficult.
What are you going to do in race 2 though? You have got that top 15 reverse for a bit of a defense from the guys coming behind you.
I'm going to try and stay clean, not get any incident points, because this is, especially with the old hairpin, turn 1 is quite okay, but most corners here, it's easy to get an off track. So I can see people struggling with that, so I don't want to be that one this time.
Yeah, definitely. You don't really want to be, bud, but unfortunately it can just happen here as well. Is it all about keeping it on the track for this reverse grid? Because it can get quite manic here.
Yeah, we were kind of expecting something to happen in the first race because of this first corner. Always something happens there, but didn't this time. So I think just staying on track, like you said, is going to be the key. Also pace, of course, those Porsches behind. In a 45-minute race, if they're a tenth or 5-6 quicker a lap, they will catch you. So pace is still a factor, but I think keeping it on track is the most important one.
Absolutely there, bud, as well. Thank you so much for joining us, Dan. We've got 2 minutes left of practice. I'll pop you back in the waiting room there, buddy, and I'll see where you end up at the end of this race.
Thank you very much.
Well, there you go, Alex, as well, from Dan Peoples. He seems upbeat about it. He seems promising, you know. He knows what he's got to go and do. He's got to try and beat the Porsches and stay in front of them. Not always going to be easy, though, is it?
No, because they're going to have to make those cars as wide as humanly possible. And that's not easy in a GT4, especially when here at Donington Park, there is a lot of real estate. And especially when you put GT3 cars on the same circuit, you've got a very easier proposition when it comes to defending. GT4s, they are production-based vehicles. And that's where you've really, really got to make the best of your opportunities. And also, if your defence pushes somebody back into the path of somebody else that might be battling for a position in the championship, that's where it's going to become crucial in this feature race.
Absolutely there as well. We've got an update from Callum Milam. He got a slowdown when fighting and tried to shave off the time and wasn't gone in time. The 43 seconds stop and hold. By the time the penalty was done, he was already a lap down. So staying out of the way to avoid ruining other people's races went over a lap down due to a penalty. So that's why Callum Milam didn't come back out, I presume, after that one. I'm really not sure what Skinny Bon and Nico are going at in YouTube chat. I can't quite decipher some of the language that's being typed here as well.
It's all it's these young'uns, isn't it?
Well, apparently Nico's 45. So I don't know. I don't understand it, Alex, to be blatantly fair with you, mate. I'm staying well out of the way of this one here as well. 10 seconds left of practice, and then we will bring you up the grid for race 2. Top 15 reverse, don't forget. So it's going to be very, very interesting indeed. But let's just give them a minute. Let it flick forward into the next session, and then we will bring you up the grid here as Barney waves the chicken flag to the warm-up here as well. They just had enough time go and get a drink and do whatever best they wanted to do here as we go into the feature race. Race 2, Stuart Gibbons, Tristan Ingolstadt are your 1-2 here as well. Robert Stotton and Chris Barnes are 3 and 4. On row 3 is Michael Lees and Dec Craver. Row 4 is Gavin Petty and Miles Owens. Row 5, Dan Peebles and Kim Andre Bjortland. Row 6, Mikey Pierce and Anders Liliore. Row 7 is Mikey Pollard and Stein Veeman. Row 8 is Richard Sidnart and Paddy Faulkner. Row 9 is Rob Williams and Stuart Rice. Row 10, Michael Seal and Dan Babbage. Then we go into the tail end of Jess Rukowski, Gary McFarlane, Richard White, Torbjörn Mele, Rachel Hoff, Torno Oromets, Chris Evans, Andy Jones, Austin Draper and Callum Milam there as well. So we've still got the 30 cars here, Alex. Still going to be probably chaotic with the faster guys coming through.
Yeah, I think the first 5 to 10 minutes are really going to decide the way that this race pans out, to be honest with you, James, because the 15-minute sprint race is a free-for-all. 45 minutes, you've got to take into consideration these cars are running on 50% maximum fuel. So there is a mandatory required pit stop. And then we've seen it before. Season 2 was a perfect personification of that, where there's no pit stop window, and drivers can decide how long they're going to eke that fuel out. But I'm going to be interested to see what happens with this very, very interesting front row start that we've got for the feature.
Yes, Stu Gibbons and Tristan Engelstadt and Robert Stotton, neither of them three are slow. That's the thing, I think, for them. They're not slow, so therefore they're going to be tough to overtake. And I think some of these people are going to struggle to get past these three because they're not going to want to roll over, Alex. They're not going to want to just let them go. You know, they want to get there. They want to be a part of it, and they want to try their hardest doing it.
And that's going to be easier said than done, because the drivers now will see the Porsche pace car peel into pit lane, as the drivers will be ready to rock and roll, as now Gibbons is going to put the pedal to the metal. The red lights are on. Red lights will now go out, and we're underway. And great start by Gibbons, Stotton into second place. Barnes all 3 wide into red gate already. And was that Engelstadt up the inside, I think?
That was Michael Lees up the inside with Barnes and Engelstadt in the grey there behind him as well. So it's all been kicking off here at the front, and they're still going at each other once more. Oh, Gibbo's gone round. No, Stuart Gibbons.
Oh, dearie me. And it was down the craners again. That has bitten 2 drivers very, very hard indeed. Jess Rukowski and Patrick Falcon are both in the pit lane, but yeah, just Gibbo just loses it backwards. At least he didn't get collected, unlike we saw in race 1. He just lost it all on his own, and it turned right, and back end just went, nope, that's it, you've got no grip.
Yeah, definitely there as well. I'm not entirely sure what happened to Paddy Faulkner and Jess Rukowski. They just kind of jumped back to the pits just after the green flag here. No other further incidents apart from the Stuart Gibbons slide at the moment. So we've still got the 30 cars on the track once more as these guys are battling it out now here all the way through, coming down into the Melbourne hairpin here, Alex, once more on that run up into Goddard's. It looks like somebody else is off the side of the track, the circuit. That's Gary McFarlane for the DCW. Looks like he's been involved here with Mikey Pollard trying to come through. Simnor and Liliorde has been overtaken already by these guys as well.
Oh,
Miles Owens,
Miles Owens from Sim Race Sweden. Now this is coming through into Goddard's. We've got the helicam shot here on the replay. He's just gonna, what happens here? Does he just punch? Oh, he just boots the throttle a bit too hard through the corner. A bit too early, I think, on the power for the Aston Martin.
Yeah, now he's all the way back down in 27th place. Then we've got Gavin Petty sitting in 5th at the moment. He's got Dan Peoples behind him. He's got Kim Andre Bjortland behind that one. Then on there, from there is a queue of cars going with Pierce, Pollard, Simnor, Liliorde, Veeman trying to come back through, Seal, Babbage, Bryce and Williams there as well, battling it out. Both these part of the Triple Blade and Triple P racing team. Then you've got Rachel Hoff, who is in this run as well. She's got Stuart Gibbons, who's trying to come back through. 2 wide at the moment here, Alex. On that run up from McLean's into Coppice, Gibbons is going to have the inside. I think he should get this job done over Rachel Hoff as they come on to the back straight down into the Essex.
Yeah, I mean, However, Hoff might still have the opportunity of getting ahead, and noses ahead going into the Fogarty S's. Will have the apex in for the left-hander. Brakes late, they're going to be side by side. Hoff decides to avoid and is going to lose not just one position, maybe make that 3 on the way down to Melbourne.
Yeah, Rachel Hoff there took the tighter line, unfortunately just had to tighten up, lost the exit speed, and away went everybody else in front. Milam, Oramet and Gibbons. Peoples here is got Petty in front, and he's got Kim Andre Bjorklund behind him here for Peoples. There he is on your screen in that Mercedes. There's the red and white of Kim Andre Bjorklund tucked up right behind him as well, as these guys are scrapping it out. Can Peoples hold on? He said he was going to try and hold on for as long as possible. How much longer can he hold on for, though? That's going to be the question.
Well, the thing is, he's making that Merc as wide as possible at the rear end and going through the old hairpin. Bjorklund right on the back bumper of the Dutchman in the Mercedes, currently running P6. Good job by Dan to actually put his elbows out, so to speak, because Bjorklund, given an opportunity, will not hesitate by 1 split second at all.
No, you leave the door open and Norwegians coming through, I can tell you that much, as they're going up now. Round Koppis, the double right-hander. This is the one we're talking about. Peoples looks like he's got a bit of a wider run with Kim Andre Bjorklund now going down the hill. Surely he's not going to try it. Into the S's. Is he going to get through the S's out the other side, down into the Melbourne hairpin? Bjorklund looks like he's going to have to run on the inside this time around. He's waiting for Peoples to move. Peoples has made his one move. Is he going to be able to hang on? Can Bjorklund send it round the outside in that Porsche? Has he got the grip? Has he got the pace? No, not this time here, Alex.
Oh, stern defending by Pepples right there. That was absolutely magical. Just keeping it very, very calm. But Bjorklund looking up the inside again. But Pepples was just able to park the Mercedes exactly where he needed to. Gets a good run coming out of Goddard's. But the Porsches again have just been the tour de force in this championship. Season 2 was a personification. Got that again here in Season 3. But I'm really glad to see that people like Dan Pepples decided to go with the Merc. You know, which has got a nice bit of grunt behind the underneath that long snout of it. But again, coming down from Redgate into Hollywood, into the Craners, the Merc is starting to stretch its legs over the Porsche. And look who's behind Bjorklund. That's Crowther, as that was one of the Mercs that went round. Oh, Gavin Petty in the 32.
Petty and Babbage, I think they've had a bit of a coming together. I think there may have also been more involved in this one as well. So there's Gavin Petty in the DCW Racing Blue. In that, oh, he's hit the grass. In the grass.
Left rear wheel on the grass just over the curbing, going into the old hairpin. Seems to be catching out a few drivers tonight.
Yeah, looked like Dan Peoples also had a moment as well. He's lost, what's he lost? 1, 2, 3, 4 places within that exchange as well. Not an ideal scenario for Peoples. Gibbons and Evans are battling it out. Gibbo has just got in front of Evans at the moment, and now we've got Dek Qualver with Richard Simnart here as well in Melbourne, battling it out once more. 38 minutes on the clock. Yeah, Qualver's not going to be able to hold the inside line for Goddard. It's going to be Simnart. Simnart's going to be able to make it through this time here, Alex. He's got the inside line. Whoa! Where was Mikey Pollard?
Mikey Pollard, that was definitely a code brown for Mr. James Parfitt in the commentary box when he was late braking. My godfathers. I mean, Pollard thought, oh, that might be an opportunity for me, and Crowther went, no, you don't.
No. And then all of a sudden this Hurtlin AI race over his car nearly went into the back of it there as well. Michael Lee, Tristan Engelstadt and Chris Barnes here, and we've still got the AM of Rob Stoughton 3.5 seconds up the road. But Andre Bjorklund now has got Simnart here as well. It looks like Bjorklund may be struggling with a slowdown. He is at the moment. He's lost 3 places. Oh, Pollard.
Oh dearie me, this could end very, very nastily, very shortly, because they're going through into the double right here at Koppis. Pollard up the inside of Bjorklund, squeezes through on the Norwegian with the Lillejode not too far behind. So whilst this trio of Crowther, Pollard and Bjorklund are battling away, it's going to give Lillejode and Pepples an opportunity. Don't try and make it 3 wide there, Mikey Pollard. That's going to be a bit too tight and a bit too close for comfort. Sharp intake of breath by Mr. Parfitt as, oh, it nearly is 3 wide. Don't try. And Bjorklund being way too cheeky on that. My godfather's through into Melbourne hairpin. Dan Pepples is trying to do the high, wide and handsome round the outside of Lily Yorda and has got the job done. Oh. Dan Pepples, of all people, I would never have thought would send it round the outside of the Melbourne hairpin and get through on Lily Yorda. Again, they're still battling away. Crowther up the inside of Bjorkman coming through out of Goddard's. Pollard's now got through. And that was very, very close indeed. And fellas, we've still got 36 3/4 minutes to go. This is a feature race. You try telling a driver that, the first thing they're going to tell you to do is shove off.
Yeah,
or words to that effect.
Yeah, words to that effect. And do you know what? I'd be surprised if Kim-Andre Bjorkman does not have strong words with Mikey Pollard there as well, because that was a big old block from Pollard going down into the Melbourne hairpin. Bjorkman was going to send it 3 wide, but he would have had the inside line. That's the problem. But that big old block from Mikey Pollard just put a stunning end to that one and literally just went, no, not happening. You break, my dear sir, otherwise we're both going off here as well. But this battle is commencing as up the front as well. Engelstadt and Lease, the 2 BMWs with Chris Barnes right behind him, still scrapping away, coming into the S's as well. The battle of the BMWs here. Engelstadt looks quick, but Lease ain't too far off it.
Yeah, Lisa was very, very quick to go up the inside through on turn 1 at Redgate on the opening lap earlier on in this race. So still to be in the top 3, but they have got to watch themselves because they've got the 245 of Chris Barnes right on their case. So this battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th is not quite over yet, while Stotton is up the road by about 3.6 seconds. So the number 8 team, the number 88 car is the number 8 car is well away into the doldrums. So we'll be going through Redgate as they're coming into Redgate right now. Mikey Pollard's just set the fastest lap of the race. 1 minute 33.879 is Lease all over the back of Engelstadt going through Redgate, and the number 55 BMW puts a wheel on the grass and the dirt and still keeps the throttle pinned.
Yeah, no holding back there as well. Looks like Peoples has just done that.
Oh,
damn Peoples. Where are you?
Oh, he's going to get assist. He gets an assist on that one. I think that might have been Veenman behind him.
Yeah, that's not an ideal way of dealing. No, just no, Stein. I'm sorry. There's not an ideal solution to your problem there. I think your problem was Dan Peoples, and the last thing you want to be doing is that one. Let's have a look and see what happened to Dan Babbage here once more. That's an AI Race Summaries car as well.
Oh, 2 taps and then Babbage goes off.
That's
and
Mikey Pierce on that one.
Dearie me, the AI Race Summaries cars might get a little bit of a spanking by the AI Race Director a little bit later on.
Yes. Yes. Well, let's see what happens as Kim-Andre Bjorkman has just sent it up the inside of Chris Barnes. He's now setting it after Mikey Pollard. Pit stops within the next probably 13 minutes here as well. So be aware on that one. So let's see what happens as they start going through that pit stop cycle, Alex. Whether or not Stotton's still going to hold on to the lead. There's still a lot involved with pit stops in general. They've still got a lot of things to take care of as well. So, yeah. It's going to be very, very interesting to see, and hopefully these guys will be able to come out the other side. Now, Jess Rakowski has had a bit of an issue here as well. Over the gravel, not doing that. She cannot do that round Redgate there for Jess Rakowski. And then it looks like there was a big one here with Richard White, Stuart Gibbons and Torbjorn Melee down into the Melbourne hairpin. Where are you going, Gimmo?
Oi! That was a proper yeet. I'm sorry, that was late break and then yeet. Poor old Richard White.
Richard White, probably not going to be too overly impressed with that one, I don't think.
No, he's going to be far from impressed. I remember Dan Pepples has just pitted. He was in the pits for about 13.3 seconds. So, yeah, this is still getting a bit feisty. This is the battle between Simnor, Lease and Engelstadt. Oh, that's Lease around off the exit of Melbourne. Oh, dearie, dearie me. Did he get a touch? I think he did.
Oh, it looks it, doesn't it? It looks like Pollard, was it Pollard? It might have even been Simner. Gave him a little bit of a gentle push to pass scenario. Oh, I need the nose. That's what I need. I think I'm going to need the nose on that one, Alex, to see if he actually did touch him or not. Oh, if there was, it was slight. But there definitely was, though.
Yeah, it was nip and tuck with that one, James. It really, really was. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing when people are battling for position, and also Richard Simnell trying to make a dent into the, what was it, before the first race tonight, what was it, 146 points he was behind Stein Wiemann in terms of the overall standings in Pro. So he's trying to do everything that he can, but sometimes if it was the slightest bump and run, there will be another discussion had, I'm sure, post-race, but this is not going to get any easier for Engelstadt as Pollard goes up the inside of all the places. Oh, that was close. Bjorklund round the outside of Engelstadt, going through into the Fogarty S's, and there's Chris Barnes for close company too, and he's right on the back bumper of the Porsche, heading into the Melbourne hairpin. Engelstadt decides to send it up the inside of Bjorklund. Bjorklund keeps the nose ahead for the minute coming out of Melbourne hairpin, and will have the inside line for Goddard's, but Engelstadt trying to put up a fight here.
Yeah, I don't think the problem is I don't think it's going to have the pace over Bjorklund. He might have the pace over Chris Barnes. Barnesy is trying to go through as well as they're running side by side over the line here in race number 2. Engelstadt on the left. Now we've got Barnes here, who didn't kind of make the move that time around. What about Stein Wiemann and Anders Lilliorde? We really don't want a repeat of what we've seen in that last one, Stein, as well. There's going to have to be a certain amount of apologies coming in here. And I'm wondering whether or not the AI race summaries guys will be looking back at this and thinking, wow, could we have done that better? Because there was definitely a couple of occasions where they were involved in contact, Alex, and you know, how's it going to play out?
They'll probably be saying to themselves, well, that was a bit of a mess, wasn't it? You know, and they'll go, we could have done better, boys, we could have done better. But, you know, sometimes there are these small finite tolerances between trying to go for a position and then completely making a hash of it, as we've seen, obviously, the contact between Stein Wiemann and Dan Pepples. And, you know, I'm sure that there is going to be a few choice words from Dan Pepples that he probably... he won't be sim racing Sweden blue for much longer. He'll be sim racing red.
Yep. I agree, as Bjorklund's just gone up the inside of Engelstadt. Bjorklund knows he's got to go after Bylard. He knows he's got to go after Simner. He knows that Robert Stotton is just breaking away here as well. The man in the arms is trying to get through. There's Crowber in the background having a go with Anders Lilliorde. Lilliorde's trying that high line round the outside. At the moment, there's been Stein Wiemann's dived into the pits here as well. He's going to go in and get his pit stop done early, but Lilliorde and Crowber still battling out. Lilliorde up the inside, Crowber there, no response, just lets the door open. Crowber's now looks like he almost is going to come back at him, but stays behind him going down the crater curves. Probably the best thing to do here as well. Mikey Seal and Mikey Pierce battling out down through the crater curves, and Seal's just lost that place to Pierce once more, with Gavin Petty right behind him here at the same time. But Barnes and Bjorklund not done just yet.
No, pretty good battle between these two. Barnes and Bjorklund probably just literally nip and tuck between them. Not even a car length coming through into Coppice, the double right-hander heading onto Starkey Straight. And yeah, I mean, the Porsche we've seen has been very, very strong around here, but is Bjorklund going to send it late up the inside of Barnes? Barnes says otherwise and just keeps himself on the racing line. Again, this is another place where we have seen that a few drivers have not circumvented track limits, but exceeded them at the moment. Mike Pierce has got the most off-tracks out of the top 20 at the moment by the live timing. So Mikey Pierce has got to be very, very careful how far he goes off track in the next 27.5 minutes.
Absolutely. Doesn't want to be in trouble there, as Barnes and Engelstadt both into the pits with 27 minutes on the clock. There was also Anders Lilliorde has come in as well Richard Simnar in second, with Robert Stotton in first, up the road by 4.9 seconds here, with Mikey Pollard right behind him. Michael Seal battling away still with Mikey Pierce. And we've got Paddy Faulkner trying to come back through the field. He's got Stein Beeman in front of him, who has pitted here. We'll let this pit stop cycle start running, I think, Alex, because there's a lot of people up and down the timing board at the moment.
Yeah, and it's going to be quite interesting to see, James, who leaves it right up until the last moment. You know, I'd probably say that we could have our last set of pit stops maybe with 15 minutes to go as behind Mike Pierce. Michael Seal nearly loses the back end going through Adam McLean's. The left rear wheel was on the dirt and very much kicking it up, but still managed to keep the throttle planted as he accelerated through the corner. So, yeah, it's going to be quite interesting how things pan out.
Definitely will be. It definitely will be, as we got 26 minutes onto the clock. Do they undercut? Do they? What do they do? What's going to be the best way? Whether or not Oromets and Williams are going to try something a little bit different. Do they try the undercut on the people in front of them? There's all of these things, Alex, that they've got to think about here at Donny. Why also they're driving around here at the same time. They've also got to think about what they're going to do, and that's the thing at the same here. That's the thing. It's got to be thought process. Undercut, overcut, where am I going to come out? Who am I going to, whether or not I'm going to be on my own, whether or not I'm going to be in a pack, because you don't want to get stuck in a pack coming out the pits when you're trying to make time up.
And that's the thing with Donington Park, as Tunnel Oromets now decides to come into the pit lane in the Project 88 number 13 BMW, whereas we see Rob Williams with Triple Blade Gamma still running. 10th place at the moment is the number 93 Mercedes. So. And he's got Stuart Rice in front of him. So there's a lot of drivers that are deciding, that are opting to go for a longer opening stint. And you know, I've seen it before in this championship, whereby there are some people that will really, really push the limit as to how much fuel they'll need to put in for the second half. Because, folks, they are on a 50% maximum fuel limit, but have they decided to put a full 50% capacity in the car before the start? If not, they'll have tried to work it out strategically, and from that perspective you're then going to see what's going to happen next, as Engelstadt up the inside of Faulkner through that was going through into Schwantz curve and into McLean's. That's very, very close indeed. Faulkner and Engelstadt side by side into Coppice. And Engelstadt does it high, wide and handsome around the outside. Paddy Faulkner, put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Yeah, I am a little bit worried about Paddy Faulkner. I'm a little bit worried about his fuel intake on the pit stop, because by all accounts his pit stop time was 1.9 seconds. And he's got a 17-second faster pit lane time than anybody else around him who has pitted. So I'm a little bit worried here that Paddy may have, I don't know, under-fueled, I think, might be the question, as Stu Rice and Rob Williams are going round again here as well. So a little bit worry what Paddy Faulkner's done and whether or not he has under-fueled there. Answer to that question, is it live? It is live, dear sir. And we can respond to your wonderful comments, as we can see Deck Crowther coming out here as well with Barnes and Engelstadt, Faulkner. Then Crowther in front of him, who's down 11 places at the moment here, Alex.
Well, just having a look, Paddy Faulkner was actually in on lap 1. So there was a drama, I think, for Paddy Faulkner. He was due to start 16th, so whether there was a bit of a problem or an issue that caused Paddy Faulkner to go into the pits, because that says to me fast repair, possibly for 1.9 seconds. So he's still got another pit stop to do.
He just didn't do anything. That's the problem. The green flag dropped, and then Paddy was in the pits. Because him and Bukowski both jumped into the pits and left the pit lane and right at the beginning of the race. So I'm not entirely sure if he had some issue or what the issue was. The issue's going to be now, Torbjorn Mele is the last one, actually Richard White is the last one who hasn't pitted, but Stein Veeman has, Barnes has, Engelstadt has, Faulkner, we think Faulkner has, Crowther has, and everybody behind that. So it's what these top 11 are going to do here, Alex, when they go into the pits. How's that one going to pan out for them?
Yeah, Rachel Hoff and Gary McFarlane also have. What is their plan is the big thing, because Rachel Hoff has made up 6 positions from 25th to 19th. Gary McFarlane started 22nd, now is P20. So, got to wonder what their strategic call is going to be on that front.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see. I always get slightly fascinated by pit stops and how they work out here. It looks like Robert Stotton has just tried to lose the lead completely on his own here, as I believe we have just gone off the side of the circuit. We're back on quite quickly, so that's fine. However, the times are coming down. Last time out, 34.5 for Stotton, 34.1 for Simnart, 34.04 for Pollard. So the Lions are approaching the Gazelle at the moment here, Alex, and are closing at a rate of knots.
Sounds like an African safari all over again, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, but it is happening though, isn't it?
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Not very much the case.
Yeah, they are coming. They're coming at him, and he's got to make a decision now whether or not he tries the undercut and gets himself in to some relative clean air, because he should technically come out round about 6th place here. So for him, he's got to be looking at what he's going to do, whether or not he's going to come out, or what he's likely to try and achieve, because running long could put him into more pressure, which then ended up him losing the place altogether.
Yeah, and you've also got to wonder about, is he starting to struggle, and is he having to really manage that fuel? Because looking at the time that Richard Simnall did in comparison to him was best part of nearly 3/10 quicker on that last lap. You know, we're on to lap 16 now of this race, and Stotton's got to make that big decision of whether he decides to bite the bullet going now and hope that Simnall and Pollard don't manage to undercut him too severely, because the more that he stays out, the quicker that Simnall and Pollard are going to get past him on track before Stotton even does the pit stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, I agree. So Sill and Jones, now both of these men have not pitted, coming into the S's before they go running down into Melbourne Hairpin as well behind him. Stu Rice looks like the last man to pit. Actually, we got Torbjörn Mele, who still haven't pitted, Richard White and Rachel Hoff, who also has not pitted at the moment either here. Mikey Pollard has chosen to go in. He's dived in a lap earlier. Miles Owens is battling it out with Stu Rice. Probably not an ideal scenario for Miles Owens, but then again, he's got to make his pit stop at the same time. So in an ideal scenario for these guys, they don't really want to be battling too hard, do they?
No, and Owens doesn't really want to have an unforced error on his plate either, because he did that earlier, and he won't want to do that again, especially coming out of Goddard's, as Rice now pulls into pit lane to serve his mandatory pit stop. So, yeah, Andrew Jones is in the pit lane. Was just been in for just under 18 seconds, so he's going to trundle his way to the end of the pit lane exit on the approach into Redgate. So he's going to be very, very careful about how he rejoins as well, because he's got to wait for the faster going traffic, keep it to the left hand side, and then peel out. And that was very, very close between him, and I think that was the 26 of Richard White that he's just got past, isn't it?
I think it was the Project 88 AM here as well. I'm just kind of waiting to see how this settles out. Simnall is on his way. The only thing for Robert Stotton that's going to be available, I think, here as well, is going in now and hoping Simnall goes in with him. I think that's going to be the problem. He's got to be he's got to, I wouldn't say cover off Richardson, but he's got to go in with him. I think he's heading in now. And where is Simnall's decided that he's not going in. So Stotton's going to have a bit of a mission. The person he's got to come out in front of is Mikey Pollard, who's coming down to the hairpin, the old Melbourne hairpin now.
Yeah, that's going to be quite crucial, because Simnall's got to do as much as he can. Going to be interested to see how long Stotton's in the pits for. So
Still saying Pollard's there coming round. Stotton's not down yet.
And he is now 18 seconds.
This is going to be, if Stotton manages this is going to be close. He's got to go. He's got to go. Stotton. There's Pollard right beside him. Yay. He got jumped at the beginning. Now he's going to try the undercut as well, Robert Stotton. Is he going to get through here? He's not going to get through. He's not going to get through. And if he hasn't beaten Mikey Pollard, he's not going to beat Richard Simnor either. I think Simnor, it could be on for this one here, Alex. I think Simnor may be coming out in front if he's going to go into the pits this time around.
Yeah, I mean, looking at Mikey Pollard's pit stop, being stationary in the box was 16 3/4 seconds. So Simnor's got to be out in about, well, he's got to be down off the jacks in about 14 to 15 seconds max in order to facilitate that. And we've still got 16 minutes and 40 to go. So Simnor on what we're going to complete very shortly, lap number 18. Will Simnor decide to pull into the pits? No, he's going to stay out again. So Simnor obviously has the confidence with the fuel mileage to keep that going. Bjorklund's going to go around for another tour as well. Pierce is the next one that's going to be coming around, and he's going to dive in now. So yeah, I think Simnor and Bjorklund, could they be really trying to push the envelope and go towards maybe the final 10 to 12 minutes to put in their pit stop? It's feasible.
It is. It's going to be very close, mind you, as Stein-Wieman comes round Goddard's now on his way down. Is he going to be out before Mikey Pierce? I think there is Mikey Pierce. Here comes Stein-Wieman. You see Pierce on the right-hand side. He's going to be well behind here as well. What about Barnes? Is Barnes going to be able to jump Pierce as well? They're going to be coming out. It's going to be side by side. Pierce is on the outside. Barnes, he does get his stop and takes that position away there as well. Mikey Pierce behind Chris Barnes and Tristan Engelstadt behind that as well. But that's going to could be crucial here for Chris Barnes and Mikey Pierce on their finishing positions here, Alex, as well. We've still got pit stops happening. Fulton's on his way out. Hoff's in as well. So there's still some later pit stops taking place. What happened to Anders Lilliorde? I'm starting to think Anders Lilliorde may have got a pit lane penalty here as well, because he's been in the pits for a minute.
Yeah, I think you might be right. If he's had a stop go for speeding in the pit lane, whoops, is probably the biggest understatement of the broadcast so far. But Lilliorde, that was a complete spanner in the works for the Norwegian. That's a real shame, but it just goes to show that you make one slight mistake, throws your race a complete and utter curveball, and Lilliorde's just experienced that.
Yeah, definitely has. Michael Sills in the pits now in third. Pollard's going to be coming down here once more. He's going round Goddard. He's going to take that position away from Michael Sill, I believe, here as well. So, Miles Owens is back in. No, that is actually Miles Owens' first one, actually, in this pit stop. So it's all about Chris Barnes and Mikey Pierce. I believe they're going to jump Michael Sill. You can see Sill coming now. There goes Barnesy. There's Sill at the top part of your screen. He's going to lose that one. What about Deck Crowell with Michael Sill? Also done as well. Andy Jones is going to go through. Here once more, Jonesy there, sending it out the inside of Michael Sill here, and Michael Sill does lose that position to Andrew Jones with there as well as they bow down.
Careful.
Can you imagine that being in the...
That's not what you want happening between teammates. Come on.
No, DCWR and DCW Racing Blue making contact there, unfortunately. See how that one pans out in the DCW after briefing party, should we say, with Chris Barnes and Mikey Pierce. Simnor is into the pits. Bjorklund's gone in as well. Pollard's going down in through the Melbourne hairpin. Robert Stotton's trying to come up behind him as well, and so is Stein-Wieman. So it's now whether or not Pollard is going to get the jump on Simnor, or if Simnor's just pulled a master stroke and it looks like he's on his way out already. Pollard's not even coming round Goddard's. I've got a funny feeling, no, here, Alex, Simnor's pulled a master stroke. He's going to be coming out in front, and Mikey Pollard's not going to be anywhere near him. What about Andre Bjorklund? Is Bjorklund going to separate here with Robert Stotton, or is Stotton going to get him at the same time? There is Bjorklund. Here comes Robert Stotton now. It is Bjorklund holding on, and Bjorklund does hold on on to that top 3 in the pros at the moment, Alex, with Stotton still leading the AMs.
Stotton all the way through this race, James, has just showcased great performance in that McLaren. And look, he's getting really, really close to the back bumper of him, heading into the old hairpin. So Stotton's really got to, cross the T's, dot the I's, and just put Bjorklund under significant pressure, because not only would that be the AM class win, but also the final step of the overall podium. But has Stotton had a slowdown? I think Stotton might have just had a slowdown. Oh, dearie me. And that has meant, I think that was Veenman that just went past him.
Yeah, Veenman's gone past. We've got Pierce and Barnes scrapping it out as well. Down at the base of McLean's. Now Barnes is going to come up round the outside. Is he going to try and get past him on the double right-hander? He's not. Pierce is going to have that. Now Pierce tightens it up. Barnes is going to have the more carry the speed going on to that back straight. I don't think Barnes is going to be able to get him into the chicane. No, Alex, I think he's too far back this time around.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really difficult to try and get a move done at this moment in time. But with 11 minutes, 30 seconds still to go, I think there's still an opportunity for Chris Barnes to do a number on Mike Pierce, as long as the Mercedes can keep with the Porsche in front of it.
Yeah, he still went in. Has it gone in again? Oh, what did you do?
Now this is coming through McLean's. And, slow down.
Where's Andy Jones going as well? Mikey Seal and Andy Jones. That's a strange one.
It is. It's a bit of a quandary, isn't it? Oh, Mikey Pierce better watch himself, because he'll have Chris Barnes up his exhaust pipe, and not too far behind him also is Deck Crowther. So the two Mercedes are trying to put a bit of pressure on the Porsche at the moment.
Yeah, they definitely are. They're trying to chase him down here as well. Stu Rice is battling away with Stu Gibbons as they're coming into Redgate Turn 1. Dropping round the right-hand side they go. Now going to be dropping down the crane of curbs. Gibbo here is on the outside. Rice is on the inside. Battle of the AMs there with the orange liveries. The AMs are going to get through. And now Gibbo does take that position away from Stu Rice here as well. That's 5th in class for Stu Rice. Rob Williams was in the top 3 with Gibbo in 4th there. So a lot happening at the moment here, and battles aplenty, should we say, here, Alex, as we're going into the last final 9 minutes.
Yeah, the other thing is, with the night time really starting to set in here at Donington Park, the braking distances, you're going to have to make a slight adjustment as well, because we've got Rice right over the back bumper of Gibbons. Now this is for 15th place overall, and this is going to be going down into foggy yeses. So Rice decided to possibly jink to the left-hand side of the corner. Thought better of it. And Gibbons stays ahead for the moment, but Stuart Rice get a bit of a run coming down hill into the Melbourne hairpin. He's going to switch to the left-hand side, try and see if he can get the over-under done on Gibbons. And on that particular occasion, no room at the inn, I'm afraid.
Yeah, definitely not there as well. And I'm trying to see if I can find out what happened to Andy Jones. Gavin Petty is under pressure from Tristan Engelstadt in the AMS. The BMW chasing down Petty in the Merc. So unfortunately there as well, it was almost for Tristan Engelstadt, but not quite.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that he's had plenty of battles all the way through both races. Most notably with Kim-Andre Bjorklund earlier on in the race, when we saw that great battle between them, through the first, I think, 5 to 10 minutes. So we do know that Engelstadt is showcasing that his BMW is not to be sniffed at, even if he's battling amongst a hell of a lot of pros.
Yeah, absolutely. Engelstadt as well is quick, and I think that's one of the things that the debates of how the championship comes down to next season, whether or not Engelstadt and Stotton will bow into the pros. There is talk about a multi-class GT4s with the LMP3s there as well. That's on the cards. We may be looking into that one and seeing if that's a viable option here for next season as we go into the last 7.5 minutes. Dan Peoples literally pushing the Mercedes of Rob Williams through the Melbourne hairpin there, Alex.
Yeah, well, Dan, after that incident with Stein Veman, has got the fire and brimstone in the belly right now, and that is a move on. Williams through Goddard's 13th place goes to the Dutchman.
Yeah, absolutely. He is through there as well, but no real fight for Rob Williams. There's no need. It's an Am and Pro battle that he doesn't need to get involved with. However, these two can battle. This is Paddy Faulkner and Anders Lilliorde, both in the pros. Coming down into Redgate now is going to be on the brakes down to the right-hander, dropping down the hill. Lilliorde tucked up right behind Faulkner here. We know Anders has got, how can I put it? He's got pace for days here as Anders Lilliorde, and Paddy Faulkner with his quali ban, not doing too badly.
No, it could have been a very different story had he not had an issue when we went green, because he was 16th. He could have been, I think, a bit further up the order, maybe as high as possibly top 10, maybe even top 8, with the pace that he's been. You know, we saw that he started right at the back row of the grid in the sprint race, and now in the feature he's been very, very close, but Lilliorde decides to send it through at Coppice, and the Norwegian gets through, and Faulkner flashing lights saying, "Oi, what was that?" Well, that was a fair move if you let the door open there, Mr. Faulkner.
Absolutely. If you're going to leave the door wide open, as ever, Alex, on the JPB YouTube channel, what do you get? You get burgled, and that is exactly what Faulkner did here as well. There leaves the door open. Lilliorde says, "Thank you very much. I'll have some of that one." Here once more, Mikey Pierce and Tristan Engelstadt still going at each other here as well. The Am and the Pro fight battling away once more. Kim Andre Bjorklund slowly has got Stein Veman closing in behind him. This could be a thing here, Alex, towards the end, the last 5 minutes. How are these guys going to be battling on?
Yeah, but then you've also got to look at what might be discussed post-race with regards to Stein Veman. If he gets past Bjorklund, it'll be good, solid points for the Dutchman as they are closing into the last 5 and a bit minutes to go. So Veman knows that, okay, the best result that I'm going to get on the road is 3rd. But will there still be a lingering thought in the back of his mind saying, "Oh, wonder what's going to happen about that incident I had with Dan Pepples earlier on in the race"? That still can play on a driver's mind.
Yeah, I think that's the thing as well. Obviously, there's, you know, things to be discussed, should we say, but
Yes.
I'm just following a conversation at the moment, and it's kind of a point there as well when there's no penalty that we can give anyone that's going to make up for the fact that their race has been over. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Unless you're going to go and DQ the person involved and not have them any points, there isn't anything we can give them. We can give them deduction of points. We can give them a drive-through. We can give them starting at the back. We can give them whatever we wanted to give them, but it ain't going to be enough. It's still not going to make up the fact that that's happened. Do you know what I mean? And it's the same with Richard Simnor and Mikael Lees. We can give Simnor a DQ, but is it going to make up for the fact that Lees is now out of the race?
Oh, it's not going to make any difference at all, because the fact is that Lees won't score points because it's out. So it doesn't matter which way you put it. Yeah, you can put in even like, say, a quali ban for the next round in a week's time. But then, yeah, what's it gonna do? It's not gonna do much. And we go to one of the circuits with the longest straight on the calendar, Fuji, next week, folks. So slipstreaming ahoy will be plentiful.
Yes, I'm sure it will, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see how Fuji pans out here. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of interested parties in Fuji as well, because it is a tough circuit. It's not a circuit that people love, and it's not a circuit that people hate. It's that Marmite categorized circuit for me. You know, and I think that's the thing here with Fuji. It's a very Marmite-based circuit. I just wanted to see what Miles Owens and Anders Lilliorde and Paddy Faulkner were up to, because they've got Stu Rice, the Am, in front of them here as well. And poor old Stu Rice, I've got a funny feeling he's going to get eaten up rather quickly here, especially if he doesn't try and stay out the way as best as possible.
Yeah, staying out of the way is one thing. Keeping completely out of the way is another. And Stuart Rice does exactly the right thing there. Goes to the Melbourne hairpin, goes, right, okay, these three are battling away. I'm going to let him through, let him have at it, and see how it all goes from there. Because sometimes by playing that, you're doing a little bit of devil's advocate, sort of like thinking, well, maybe I could use this to my advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. If I was Stu Rice now, I would sit on the back and maybe see if these guys can get me down the road. Don't get me wrong, they're at the top of the hill. And that's going to be a tough one, even if my reality sits in here as well. I think for Stu Rice to get dragged that far forward, Alex, I've got a funny feeling that Rob Williams could be sitting third overall in the AMS. But what's going on with Crowber, Barnes and Petty? Well, these guys are going to be going at it now, right the way down. We're going to get one and one more here. Brian Richard Simnar, who crossed the line with about 20 seconds to go. So they are going to have one and one more here, Alex. These three still got time to figure out quite what they're going to do.
Yeah, they'll have 2 laps to go. So which one of these cars from the 3-pointed star brand will have the sort of like the upper hand, so to speak? At the moment, it is the fact that Crowther is trying to get the jump on Barnes, but now Petty has got Mikey Pierce right with him going through into Redgate, so that's going to make it a 4-car brawl going around the circuit for 2 more laps. That's 5 miles, and I think in the old saying goes, something's got to give.
Yeah, it has there as well. And whether or not it's going to be Chris Barnes over Deck Crowther, they are from the same team, mind you. So more common sense would say stay where you are, maybe, and a little bit of orders to say stay where you are. Mikey Pierce is not in the same team as Petty, so from Pierce's point of view, he's able to go for it. But I think the guys from the Triple Blade Oscars in front just got to stay where they are. I don't really feel the need for them to be battling, especially as Richard Simnar is on his way up to Goddard to take the white flag here as well. So yeah, very, very interesting once more here, as Richard Simnar is going to go over the line. There's Barney waving on the right-hand side. Simnar is going to take the white flag. One more lap for these guys to sort themselves out. How's this one going to pan out?
Yeah, still a good effort by Richard Stoughton to Robert Stoughton to keep it in 5th place. Highest AM, started on reverse top 15 pole position 45 minutes ago. Went green, but yeah, this is going to be very, very crucial what happens here, because Barnes and Crowther, they'll, as you said, they're teammates, whereas Petty and Pierce are very much keeping with them. Pierce is the biggest danger in this quartet, I think, because especially with the fact that Porsche we have seen being very, very capable over multiple seasons of the GT4 series here on JPB. But at the moment, Barnes, Crowther and Petty are keeping Pierce at bay, and Pierce is actually losing a little bit of time. As all, that was a bit of a moment there for Barnes coming out of the old hairpin.
Yeah, I think he had Crowther to back him up, mind you, though, Alex. I think Crowther played a bit of a roadblock over Gavin Petty behind. He almost just covered him off there, and Barnes didn't really lose a drastic amount of time, and Crowther didn't lose hardly any time to Petty, but Seal has lost a lot of time here as Kim Andre Bjorkland, and I believe that is Stein Wieman tucked up right behind him, coming round here as well for the final time. This is going to be a run to the line. We will pick up on Richard Simnar very, very shortly, as he's going to be coming over the line. There is Richard Simnar. He is your winner. Want to see what happens with Stein Wieman and Kim Andre Bjorkland. Is this going to be a run down to the line? I think it definitely is here. I think Stein settled. He has settled, and Kim Andre Bjorkland goes and takes that place away. Now we've got Barnes, now we've got Crowther, now we've got Petty a lot in here as well. And Crowther, you've got to get on it. Petty's behind you as they're coming over the line, as they are in the pros at the moment there as well. Great fighting. Crowther took that position away from Barnes at the end, but to be honest with you, Alex, he kind of looked like he let him.
Yeah, Mikey Pierce had a bit of a moment in that lap. Lost. Well, he was about at one point 0.4 of a second behind Petty, then ended up 1.7 seconds behind him at the checkered. Stoughton takes the AM win ahead of Engelstad in 10th. We're waiting now for Rob Williams, who's going to come across the line and pick up his a 3rd place in the AM class. So Triple Blade Gamma 93 Merc Good showing by him. Liliorde takes 14th. Good recovery from Dan Pepples, finishing 12th overall, 5.3 seconds behind Tauno Oromets after that incident earlier on in the race. So it does go to show that sometimes, even though you have an incident earlier on in the race, you can make the best of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think these guys have made the best of it here as well. So I think overall it's been an absolutely epic evening of racing, and one that I'm sure these guys will absolutely love here as well. And I'm sure they'll be back once again next week. But we will bring you here as well from this race here, and let's have a look at the results once they are all in and dusted. So we will be there very, very shortly, and as if by magic, there they are. It was a victory for Richard Simnor. It was second place for Mikey Pollard, and Kim Andre Bjorkland rounded out the podium. Stein Veman in fourth. Then we got the AMA, Robert Stotton taking the victory with Dec Craver, Chris Barnes, Gavin Petty and Mike Pierce there rounding out the top 9. Tristan Engelstadt grabbing second in the AMS, 10th overall, with Torno Oromets in 11th and Dan Peoples in 12th. Then we've got Rob Williams rounds out the podium in 13th for the AMS there, with Anders Liliorde, Paddy Faulkner, Miles Owens and Stuart Rice rounding out the top 17. Chris Evans in 18th, Richard White in 19th. Then we got the guys a lap down, Torbjorn Mele, Rachel Hoff, Gary McFarland and Austin Draper. 2 laps down, Stuart Gibbons didn't finish, Andy Jones, Michael Sill and Michael Lease there, Alex. Great evening of racing. I think we've seen that Donny can deliver, and it has delivered once more.
Yeah, always a great track to be at, James. I mean, Donington Park GP, you know, people say, yeah, the National's good. I always love GP. I mean, it was one of the first tracks that I came across, like when I was a young lad watching Formula One. I still remember Ayrton Senna's magical lap in the wet. But then also having commentated there IRL, it's a real good circuit that you just don't know what you're going to expect. But then when you've seen it firsthand in front of your very eyes, what can happen? It just always provides great door-to-door racing, and that's what we've had here tonight here for round 5.
Yeah, absolutely. I do fully agree. I think we have had some epic door-to-door, epic fighting, and all around here from everybody as well. We're just seeing if anybody wants to chat with us at the moment, and we will have a chat with the man who has taken 2 victories out of 2 here this evening as well. The one, the only, the Mr. Richard Simnor. Richard, welcome in, dear sir. How are you?
I'm all right, yeah. Not too bad. Pretty happy with that.
Yeah, not bad for a return, should we say?
So it was my home track, so, you know, I had to put on a good show.
Do you feel you can catch up?
Do I feel I can catch up? I mean, technically, yeah, but I think in reality, missing 2 rounds is probably too much. But yeah, I don't know really. Just gonna have fun, see how far I can go. But yeah, full send from here on in.
Yeah, absolutely as well. You and Michael Lease had a little bit of a interesting contact.
Yeah. I went back and had a look at it, and it's it looked like he got out the hairpin okay, but he might have had a bit of wheel spin. And I just tapped his rear quarter, and I think he was probably still quite full on over on the steering, and it just tipped him round, which is a bit unfortunate. I'm going to go in and apologise on the driver chat, because it was probably, retrospect, probably my fault. But I even said in the voice in the race, I said, well, I didn't realise I was actually on your bumper that close. So yeah, it was the 0x on my end. So yeah, unfortunate. I try not to make a habit of these things, but it was probably my fault.
Yeah, well, to be fair, they do, you know, as I've been told multiple times, Mr. Simnor, it's on the car behind to make the overtake cleanly there as well, you know, as I keep being filled in.
Yeah. I did put some good ones around the outside, though, so I was quite pleased with my performance, but that was probably the only blip on it, really, which is a shame. You know, it ruined his race, and he was doing really well, so yeah.
Well, I'll leave you to go and have an apology conversation with Michael Release there, Richard. Anyone you want to shout out before I let you go?
Yeah, shout out Mikey. Yeah, he drove a really bad race and was really slow. So, you know, second place is all he could do. Cheers.
Take care, bud.
Bye.
Oh, dearie me. Richardson coming in with some interesting insights there as well. And a big shout out to his teammate who was really bad. But now we're going to have a chat with Kim on JPB Auckland and took third place in the feature race here as well. Kim, welcome in, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, okay, I guess.
Okay, you guess.
Yeah.
How was your evening, Kim? You know, tell us about it.
It was difficult. Lots of slowdowns. Some contact. Yeah.
A bit of everything then, is that what we're saying?
Yeah. I don't know what happened. I had good pace at the start of the practice, and then everything just went away, so just had to do the best I could.
Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Just go, you know, do the best you can. Going into Fuji next week, Kim, how do you feel about Fuji?
I'm afraid of the sausage curbs.
Yes, they are quite ferocious. What do you think, though? What is it roughly for you this season? Are you coming in to make a championship run? Are you coming in to learn for this season? What is it for you?
Bit of both, I think. I'm pretty new to the GT4, so I'm not sure what to expect, actually.
Okay, buddy. Well, thank you so much for joining us there, Kim. Anyone you want to shout out before I let you go?
Of course, my teammates and Anders, who's with us in these races.
Yeah, you and Anders Lilliorda having a bit of a battle there as well, weren't you? It was quite interesting to see how that one was going to work out. Very excited to see this going forward. Kim, thank you so much for joining us there, buddy. Excellent job from you this evening, and we'll see you next week at Fuji.
Yeah, thanks.
Right, and the final person that I am going to have a chat with is Master Dan Peoples, when I can get hold of the right one and bring him into the booth. Dan, welcome in there, buddy. How are you?
Yeah, like I said, it was going to be a tough race. No, I'm doing fine. It was lovely once again. I love the track, even though the car wasn't the quickest, but it was a ride-all challenge, and I like that.
Ride-all challenge and a bit of contact just to go for boats.
A bit of contact with quite a big end of story for me for that race, but I'll have another look at it in a bit and look at it when I'm zen down instead of hot-headed. I think that's always the best to do. But yeah, don't think that was staying his best action there.
No, I don't believe it was, but I think overall it's been quite an interesting night for you. What do you see you're coming out of this season? What's the situation?
I did tell you on the first race I did, where I did end up fourth twice, that it was going to be a challenge. I was not going to keep that pace the whole season. I've surprised myself that I could be up there, even today, in that second race. I had to fuel save massively. I was saving about 0.3 liter a lap, and I was still on the pace with the leader. But yeah, I've surprised myself, and the aim for the season really is to end it in a good way, end it in a way that I can say, okay, I did do myself proud, because at the end of the day, I still expect myself to do well. But if I personally can say, okay, that I did everything I could do, then I'm very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dan, thanks so much for joining us there, buddy. Anyone you want to shout out before we let you go?
Yes, you and Alex. I don't know if anyone has done this yet, but yeah, thank you for supplying the broadcast. You've been amazing.
Thank you very much. As we always are, Mr. Peoples.
There we go.
Take care, buddy.
He knows.
Well, there you go, Alex. Very interesting conversations with some of the guys here this evening as well. Simnor coming out saying he didn't realise it was that close, and he will obviously go off and have a bit of an apology. You know, Kim on JP Auckland. I don't know, but Kim on talking to Kim reminds me of talking to Kimi Räikkönen. He's very tough to get things out of, but you're never quite sure what his emotions are. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's the thing with some drivers. They like to keep their cars close to their chest, to be honest with you. And yeah, I mean, if he's the person of the JPB GT4 series, so be it.
Absolutely as well. Thank you so much for joining us here as well. Skinny Bon and Nico, I am not even sure what you two have been up to all the way through this as well. Apart from the fact that you...
I've like completely drawn a blank with that all evening long.
I'm not sure. I don't even know what's going on. And MTU started getting involved as well. Robert Stoddard jumped in. That was fun. Thank you so much. Rob Williams there as well. Great broadcast. Thank you. Again, Alan Love Alan joining in as well with whale, as we've got fish, shark and orca going on here as well. Not too sure if I did miss anybody because, to be honest, I can only see so far back. But that's going to wrap it up this evening here, guys, as well. And we'll look forward to seeing you all next week in the GT4s. Don't forget, guys, as well, a lot more racing coming up on the JPB YouTube channel. We have got a lot of things happening this week. Evolution round 4 from Le Mans for the GT3, and we've got the Radical Race Series round 6 from Suzuka. TCR's Euro Sprint return on Friday, then the IFL Super Formula Series for the Hungarian Grand Prix on the Saturday. Then we've got the IFL F3 series from the Hungaroring on the Sunday. IGP as well. Also in that as well, we've got the VWSC series coming back. The NAS series is coming tomorrow night at 1, I think it's 2 o'clock Eastern time as well. So if you fancy joining us for that one. And also we've got the VWFC Modern Series returning as well. So don't forget, like, subscribe, turn on the bells, and sit here and you'll never miss a minute of racing. But I've been James Parfitt. I've been alongside Alex Goldschmidt here as well. And for now, guys, as always, take care. Have a great week. And you never know, we might see you on the track sometime. Good night.